Dr. Richard E. Bright, a molecular biologist from Rutgers, described this research in Wuhan as the Wuhan lab used NIH funding to construct novel chimeric SARS-related coronaviruses able to infect human cells and laboratory animals. This is high-risk research that creates new potential pandemic pathogens that exist only in the lab, not in nature. This research matches, these are Dr. E. Bright's words, this research indeed epitomizes the definition of gain-of-function research done entirely in Wuhan, for which there was supposed to be a federal pause. Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress.
Microphone.
Your microphone.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function. Let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans,
right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about. Okay, you get
NIH,
one person.
Let's read from the NIH
Chair, can I
definition of
answer
gain
the
of
question?
function. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
And let's let Dr. Fauci.
I have to, well, now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well,
we don't
wait
know
a minute.
if it did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments that were given in the annual reports that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It
no
is
one is alleging that
molecularly.
those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That is
you can't
not.
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
time is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
Let me just finish. I want everyone to understand that if you look at those viruses, and that's judged by qualified virologists and evolutionary biologists, those viruses are molecularly impossible to result in SARS-CoV-2.
Viruses caused the pandemic.
Senator Paul,
we're saying they are gain-of-function viruses because they were animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And you
admit the truth.
And you implying.
Senator Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond.
And you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Senator Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. And thanks to all of our panelists for being here today. And thank you, Chair Murray and Ranking Member Burr. I just want to say, Dr. Fauci, is there anything more that you would like to say to counteract these attacks on your integrity that we've all just witnessed?
Well, Senator, thank you. I don't think I have anything further to say. This is a pattern that Senator Paul has been doing now at multiple hearings based on no reality. He keeps talking about gain of function. This has been evaluated multiple times by qualified people to not fall under the gain of function definition. I have not lied before Congress. I have never lied, certainly not before Congress. Case closed.
Yeah,
It all gets very confusing.
let's show all of you, and by the way, if you're not sharing this on 50 platforms right now, start sharing, because what I'm about to unveil is what Rand Paul should have done the minute Anthony Fauci said that NIAID has not funded gain-of-function research. Rand Paul should have done what I'm going to do. Let me put this in a way, and listen, some of you guys are good at video editing or whatever you want to do. Grab this section and put it everywhere you see Rand Paul's, promotions, everywhere you see Rand Paul's comments, everywhere you see Rand Paul's things. So let's go back to the beginning. What Rand Paul should have done when Anthony Fauci said today that the NIH, and specifically his organization, NIAID, has not funded gain-of-function research, Rand Paul should have put on a screen the letter I have on the screen right in front of each and every one of you. And let me read you what the letter says. This is from the Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. That's NIAID. That is Anthony Fauci's own organization. This is the letter, October 21st, 2014, sent to none other than Ms. Sherry Settle, Director, Proposal Management, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Office of Sponsored Research, et cetera, et cetera. And there is a grant number, 5U19A107810-02. This is the grant that ultimately was used by Ralph Baric to create a chimeric, infectious, enhanced coronavirus pathogen. And that's by his own admission. He used this grant, and what the letter says, NIAID has determined that the above referenced grant may include gain-of-function research that is subject to the recently announced U.S. government funding pause. That's what we called the moratorium, issued on October 17, 2014. The following specific aims appear to involve research covered under the pause. Project 1, the role of uncharacterized genes in high pathogenic human coronavirus infection. Ralph S. Baric, PhD, project leader. Novel functions of virus in replication in vitro and novel functions of virus pathogenesis in vivo. You know what in vivo means, James?
No.
That
In
means
vogue?
in a living organism.
Oh,
Okay?
that's not good.
Now listen, people.
That sounds
Listen.
awful.
This particular letter specifically proves that Anthony Fauci lied to Congress. Not lied to Congress, kind of misled Congress, lied to Congress. And for those of you not familiar, in the Fauci dossier, you can flip through the wonderful Fauci dossier, and what you can find in the Fauci dossier is that, in fact, 18 U.S. Code, Section 1001, makes it a felony to do what he did. It's a felony. He lied, and Rand Paul did nothing to get him to actually be confronted with the evidence of his lie. Now, James, you know what? Somebody could say, well, Dave, that's a letter from October of 2014. How the hell do you expect a congressman or anybody else to find that or whatever? Okay, here's the problem. I've been publishing this thing for a year. So if there was anyone in Rand Paul's office to whom this information has been sent on multiple occasions, If there was anybody in Rand Paul's office doing their job, they would have, number one, known about this. And number two, they would have put this up when Rand Paul had Anthony Fauci telling Rand Paul that he was lying about some craziness that Anthony Fauci was making up about saving 400,000 lives or not saving 400,000 lives, depending on the way the story gets told. But James, it gets far worse than that. It turns out that I have on this particular slide set, not one, but I have letters to St. Jude Hospital, Mount Sinai Hospital, Johns Hopkins University, Rochester Medical Center, Utah State University, Mount Sinai Medical School, Emory, University of Wisconsin-Madison, Washington University, University of Texas, University of Chicago, University of Iowa, Emory University, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, University of Maryland, Vanderbilt University, University of Wisconsin-Madison, University of Wisconsin-Madison, and the Director of Intramural Research, Principal Investigators of the White House Announcement on Gain-of-Function Research. I have none other than 75 pages of letters that all said that NIAID was funding gain-of-function research. 75 letters. Now, here's the funny thing. I want you to see what I'm going to do here, James, because this is the magic of this thing that we call the internet. It's this kind of very fascinating little technology. You might have heard about it before, but I just sent you all the links to all 75 pages of all of the letters that actually explicitly say that NIAID was in fact funding gain-of-function research, and that they in fact were specifically working not only on gain-of-function research, but it gets worse. If you look at pages 34, 39, 56, and 60, you'll see that specifically this was gain-of-function on SARS and MERS to increase the infectivity of the virus to make it more pathogenic. Okay?
No.
Now, before I lose my freaking mind on this thing, let's make something abundantly clear. There is a express piece of evidence sitting in front of you right now that, in fact, Anthony Fauci lied to Congress in violation of 18 U.S. Code Section 1001, and that is a felony violation, and Rand Paul has the ability to actually do something about it.